Alright, so I'm in Pompeii today with David and Rebecca, and tell me about your restaurant.
This is my restaurant, and his restaurant's next to it, right next to it.
So today we're in Pompeii, Herculaneum, and we're going to climb Mount Vesuvius. We're down below Naples, and I'm going to tell you how to get around whether you have a personal vehicle or you take a train. We decided to stay at an Airbnb both times we went, one in Bossa Reale and one in Torre Annunziata, and both are right next to Pompeii.
Alright, so we made it to Pompeii. There are the ruins. We parked across the street. There are a lot of different parking lots. We paid €10 to park. It's very empty today. We are here at opening, but also it's just down season, so.
There are two entrances to Pompeii. This is the main entrance right here. There's one down around the corner with a lot of booths that people are selling things at, so you can go to either one. Today we just came to this one. You can see there's food across the street, and just up the street is where the train station is that we'll be talking about later. You can get tickets at the gate, but there will probably be a long line and there's no guarantee that tickets will be available. They also have audio guides that you can purchase at the gate, which is a great idea if you're not going to get a tour, although I do recommend the tour as well. You learn so much more that way. There are also apps you can download, and they do give you a map when you walk in. Also remember, kids under 18 are free, but you do need to have a ticket for them. I love how a lot of the historical sites in Italy are free for kids, just like the Colosseum, but we will save that for a future video when we go to Rome. I'm just going to give you a glimpse of what we saw. There in the background, you see Vesuvius as it looks out over the Forum right here. There's the Basilica right next to the Forum. This would be the epicenter of Pompeii. There would be so much going on. It would be a marketplace, there are granaries, even the Temple of Jupiter is here. There was so much to do in Pompeii, and so many people that were destroyed on that day in 79 AD when Vesuvius erupted. Right here you see the Basilica again. You can see all the architecture. When you have a walking map, it gives you a lot of interesting details about all the architecture, and you can walk in amongst where the different houses would have been. You can see how small the houses of the poor were and how large the houses that the rich had, and you can walk on the streets that they walked on way back then.
So here we are in the House of the Faun, which is the largest house here in Pompeii, 27,000 square feet, and this thing has some beautiful views, some great courtyards, there's an office, there's all kinds of other stuff, and it is known for the mosaic of Alexander the Great right here, and then the faun statue up towards the front. As you look through, you can see a lot of beautiful things, and even behind me you can see how beautiful that is. A lot of pillars and decorations all over the place. There's color, there's mosaics in the other rooms and stuff like that. So this is well worth checking out if you get a chance while you're here.
Another option for finding out more about these different sites would be to look at the travel guides that you can get from the library and bring that along. We read a travel guide the one time we went. I thought this was very interesting, this mosaic of a dog. It looks like they're supposed to be warned that there's a dog present at that house. And they also have a snack bar with pizza and beverages, ice cream, which would be gelato there. And I just wanted to show you a little bit of the inside so that you could see. I mean, it is kind of pricey, but it's the only place that you can buy food in Pompeii, the ruins proper. So it's a good place. And there's also air conditioning in the summer, and you can use the bathroom. So that's very nice. And there's fresh free water to fill up your water bottle.
There's the modern water. And this is part of the ancient aqueduct right there. They have lead pipes inside of here, which delivered water.
As you can see from the beginning of our movie, our kids really loved pretending that the old kitchen areas were their own private little restaurants. It was lots of fun, and back in Pompeii, we were told, they didn't really have home kitchens. They would go down to the local restaurant and pick up their food. There was also the casts from Pompeii. They showed some of them. They were in special buildings that you would walk in and just look inside. And they had a lot more in Naples, I was told. And I'm told that the only thing cooler than walking around on the streets that the Pompeians walked on is to walk on your hands. And as you notice, Rebecca had a boot because during this trip, she actually had a sprained ankle. One of my favorite views of Pompeii is the bird's eye view. There is an observation area that you can walk up the steps. Be careful, they are a little uneven, but we were able to look out over all of Pompeii and to see the streets, to see above the houses. It is truly a sobering sight. Well, now we're going to leave Pompeii. On the way out, you can see a little bit more of the ruins as we go. You go to the exit and there is an antiquarium, which is a place that you can go and look at some artifacts, find out some more information. There are also bathrooms there. Here's the exit, which I also told you is close by one of the entrances. This entrance has all the vendors with plenty of stuff to buy. Just be careful. It is probably very overpriced, but if you don't mind, then that's totally fine. And right across the street, they have a bunch of restaurants. We went to one of the restaurants and had some amazing food. It was off season, so we didn't have to wait in a long line. Just remember, they do close around 3 o'clock until evening during the season. I know that spaghetti is a simple thing to make in the US, but I gotta tell you, the spaghetti we had here at this restaurant was absolutely the best spaghetti I have ever tasted in my life. They also gave us a local dessert, which was very flaky and sweet, but it wasn't quite our favorite. It just looked really cool. So if you do not have your own vehicle and you are taking the train, you just get off at the Pompeii train station. Super easy to get there. And now we're going to talk about how to get to Vesuvius. Very close to the main entrance to Pompeii is this train station, and that is also the bus station. So if you want to take a bus up to Vesuvius, you just come in here, buy your ticket, and right across the street, the Circumvesuviana line, right across the street is where you will load on your bus. So once the bus pulls up, you just get on, and it'll take you the whole way up the mountain to Vesuvius. The tickets are very reasonable, only about €4 per person. And that's one way, so make sure you have enough cash to get yourself back down on the bus. So you would need about €8. The ticket to actually climb Vesuvius is separate, so make sure you have that ticket before you go up the mountain because you will not have good cell phone coverage at the top. You can also climb Mount Vesuvius in your car. You park down below here. With other cars, you pay online beforehand to rent a parking spot for €5. Definitely do it before you go up because you won't have good reception and the spots might be sold. It is a rather small spot for a normal sized vehicle, but our Mini Cooper fit just fine. You'll buy a €1 ticket that will get you in one of these little buses, these little vans that are waiting down there, and they'll take you the 1 mile up to the entrance. Or you can walk like these people did, but I swear the €1 ticket is definitely worth it. Once you get to the top, that's where you will actually use your Vesuvius ticket, which is about €10 to get in. It's a time ticket, so you have to wait until your time, go up, and they will scan you through, and then it is time to hike. You still get a good hike in. That's why I would say definitely don't hike. Instead of paying €1 to go up on that little bus taxi, it's definitely worth it because you will be hiking here. Beautiful views as you look out over. You can see the Bay of Naples right there. That's where you will be docked if you ever take a cruise that comes into Naples. And if you want souvenirs like David did, you bring yourself a bag. I would say bring a canvas bag or something other than a regular shopping bag. But you can pick up some of those genuine Vesuvius lava rocks. There are tons of them around. I don't know if this is encouraged or not, but none of the workers told him he could not take them when they saw him leave with his bag of rocks. We also got to see some cute little lizards. It's a fun little hike, and it's nice to be able to say that you've hiked Vesuvius, but if you have any mobility limitations, probably not a good idea. Rebecca was a trooper, and she made it up and down with her sprained ankle in a boot. I did give her a little bit of a ride sometimes to help her out, just a little bit. As you're up at the top of the cone, you can look down in and you can see where the top of Vesuvius blew off and all of the stone ended up in Pompeii, of course. You can look down in, you can even see a little bit of smoke still coming out of it in little wispy areas. There are plenty of bugs up there too, just so you're aware. In the summertime, the bugs can get pretty thick. And of course, there are plenty of places that you can buy souvenirs on the top as well. Look at that gorgeous view up in the clouds. A nice gentleman even offered to take our picture at the very top. Well, there's another site that we want to tell you about. It's Herculaneum, and it is not as well known, but it is better preserved than Pompeii is. You can either get off at the train station Herculaneum, or you can park. There's plenty of parking at the front entrance. You can see Herculaneum behind us there, and just pointing out, I did make all the shirts we're wearing in that picture. Anyway, if you want your tickets, you can purchase them online beforehand. They do sell tickets at the front entrance at the Welcome Center, and this is the Welcome Center actually. David found himself a buddy. There are feral cats all over the different ruins we've been at, the Colosseum and Pompeii, and this is the first time we actually saw a cat inside. And just be careful, they are not tame, they just do like the tourists most of the time. Once you have your tickets, you can head down into Herculaneum, which is right in the middle of the city of Herculaneum. You can see the modern buildings out around the outside, which makes it a really interesting excavation to look at. It is very well preserved because of the type of lava flow that came into this area, and they believe that a lot of the people of Herculaneum were able to make it out of there. Herculaneum was accidentally found when somebody was actually digging for a well in the 1700s, and because of how well it was preserved under there, they were able to find a lot of things, even papyrus scrolls and other artifacts that are now kept in museums in Naples. To end our day, we went to the beach over by Marina di Stabia, and we had some gelato and some pizza on the beach. The sand is actually black because of the eruption from Vesuvius so long ago. We thought that was pretty cool, so we called it Ash Beach. Well, that was a busy, fun day, and I hope you come back tomorrow because we are headed to Rome. We are actually going to give Rome 2 days because there is a lot to see. We'll see you tomorrow. Ciao! Normally, I don't talk over our bonus footage, but this one needed a little bit of explanation. So this is why I do not like to drive in Naples. I was driving in Naples and there was a lot of traffic on the main roads and there were no stoplights. It was just four-way traffic and everybody kind of went wherever they wanted and pleased, and it was very nerve-wracking. Not my most fun moment. So we turned down a street to try and find parking because we wanted to go to Capri on this particular day. Well, this is what we found down a side street. We had a very hard time finding any parking. Any parking was indoors, very, very cramped. And as we were driving around, there are people standing on both sides. I'm driving a Mini Cooper and it looks like I'm walking because it does not look like there is room for a car. But trust me, we were driving at this point in time. And there are little scooters dodging in and out, people walking all over the place. It's fine. It's just not my cup of tea. And actually, as I was driving, there was a guy on a scooter who backed into me. He actually pushed in my rearview mirror a little bit because he, I guess, thought that I was in his way. So anyways, that is why I prefer to take public transportation instead of driving in Naples. And when we stayed at the Airbnb in Bossa Real, we had an interesting parking situation. Thankfully, we had our little Mini Cooper with us at that day, but it reminded me that I always now check to see what the parking is like at the Airbnb that you stay at in Italy. Because in this one, I actually had to park in a little courtyard in here. We had to back in. It was barely big enough for a little Mini Cooper. I'm not huge into parallel parking, let alone this, but I got, okay at it by the time we were done. We had to park in here. There were a few other cars in around the corner. There were some scooters. As you'll see here, one of the women who lives there had to come out of her door, and her door is right there by my back bumper. So we actually were staying up the steps and around the corner in a different area of it. But yeah, so it was kind of interesting. If you don't really like short, small areas, this is why for our next stay, when we stayed at Torre Annunziata, I made sure to book a parking spot down the street, and we just walked there, and we walked to the train too, so that we did not have to get out and go places each day. And now you know the rest of the story.